Welcome to another week of the Monday Huddle, where we will teach you tips, tricks, ideas so you can beat your Monday and you can dominate your week. I'm G.
I'm Derek.
Here we go. What are we talking about?
Mission drift. You know, when I think about drifting, I often think about a ship. Starts out in one location, ends up in another, especially if you don't pay attention along the way. But the first time I heard about this was when you mentioned it. Mission drift. If you don't stay focused, then you drift. Talk to us a little bit about mission drift.
So listen, when we get to a place of drifting in our mission, we oftentimes don't realize that we get way off course of where we started from. Right? I'll give you an example. Harvard University started off as a Christian university. And you could go on campus now, and you wouldn't even realize that that started as a Christian university. Now it's known as a law school. Right? There are organizations all over the place that started with one intention, and little by little, they got drugged into doing something other than what they were truly intended for. Right? We look across the board of like the Coca-Cola company. The Coca-Cola didn't start off as being a Coca-Cola soda. It was actually a medicine. Right?
I didn't know
there
that
are
either.
things that you start off trying to accomplish, and we chase other things that wind up leading us in a different direction. Right? You have a vision for yourself. You have a vision for your family. You have a vision in what type of work you're trying to accomplish. Right? You have all of these things that you're trying to accomplish in life, and often, if you're not careful, they will drag you into a different direction because you see that there may be potential in another place. What happens is that you start doing things for money or other motivators, and you are no longer feeling like you're being an impact or you're passionate about it. Why? Because now your motivation has changed. And if you stop making money there, then guess what? Now you want to quit.
Look somewhere else.
Then you just, companies close down. You decide that you want to go ahead and sell the company and do something else. You lose the passion, you lose the drive. Why? Because you're not impacting in the way that you intended originally. You are way off course, right? And so I look at my own personal life and the things that that I have set out to accomplish as far as vision, as far as organization, as far as my life vision, right? And I have to do a check often on myself because I could easily start chasing other things because I'm very task oriented.
Absolutely.
Right? And so if you're not careful, then you can find yourself at a place where you have lost your identity. Mission drift is literally losing your identity from what you're known to do and accomplish.
You know, when I think about mission drift, and I'm going back to the boat, and I'm thinking about everything that impacts the boat, that pulls it off of its direction, off of its course. It could be, I misread the stars, or the water's choppy, or the wind was blowing, or the guy on the wheel fell asleep, or whatever it is. And I think that we all kind of have those environmental influences that could cause us to get off of course.
That's right.
I know for me, a big one was my family. And it was like I was trying to do something, but also stay rooted at home. And I'm hearing all these different things, like pastors say, "Do you want me to succeed? Do you want to eat, or do you want me at home? Because I can't do both." And then I heard another person say, "There's nothing more important than your family." And then I heard somebody else say that the man goes out and gets the bread, and he's the breadwinner. And so I'm over here, and then I'm over here, and this pastor said this thing, and this motivational, and David Goggins said this, and don't take out debt. Who's the David Ramsey said don't have credit cards. Somebody else says credit cards build up credit, right? And then at the end of the day, I find, and one of my favorite books to quote says, a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. In fact, he's like a ship in the waters in a storm being tossed to and fro. And so if we don't maintain course, if we don't know where we want to go, and if we don't know how we want to get there, and we're being pulled by all of these different things along the way, then we find ourselves drifting off course because we weren't locked in, not only to the destination, but how to get there.
Yeah, it's so important. We have to have plans and strategizing. And some people just want to show up and think that things are just going to happen, right? Yeah, and that's deadly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to kill something, show up unprepared. Over and over and over.
That's good.
And that's how we often do our Mondays, right? We show up unprepared. We start our week unprepared, and we're like, well, let's see what this week brings. No, listen, I prefer to plan. When I go on vacation, my wife would just be like, gee, let's just roll, let's just go with it. And I'm like, no, listen, we got to plan. Otherwise, we get there and we don't do anything.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And so lack of planning on your part should not constitute an emergency on my part.
Yeah.
There's got to be a plan. And so to be able to not drift on your vision, what's your 1-year plan? What's your 3-year plan? What's your 5-year plan?
Yeah.
Right? And oftentimes, the big guy upstairs, he'll give you the end goal, but he doesn't oftentimes give us the in-between. Why? Because sometimes we wouldn't even start.
Oh, no.
And so when you look at a tomb, when you pass away, there is a beginning date, there's an end date, but what's that dash? And that preparation, right, that's the dash. How are you preparing your dash? How are you preparing to ensure that you accomplish what it is that you set out to accomplish? You got to plan. You got to ensure that you do good strategizing. What are your visions? What are your goals? What are your strategies? Because if you don't have a strategy, you'll never accomplish the goal. And then we have to have priorities.
Yeah.
If you don't prioritize, then you spend your money on things that you shouldn't. You give time to things that you shouldn't. And then there's an accountability. I tell people all the time, listen, if I'm not producing or I'm not accomplishing what I'm set out to accomplish in our partnership, fire me. Let me go. Don't let me work with you anymore because I'm not the guy for the job.
Yeah.
And I think that if we put a high level of accountability on ourselves, see, this is the thing that some of us allow our mission to drift, and because there's no consequences, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
But let there be some consequences, and all of a sudden you get yourself right back in line. It's like when you were in elementary school and you stopped doing your homework for 3 months. I'm telling on myself.
Listen.
And then I got home and there was some consequences. Guess what I started doing again?
Homework. Absolutely.
I started doing my homework again. And so I was drifting in the 3rd grade in the wrong direction. And I had some help called Mom bring me back into order and bring me back to the vision of accomplishing the 3rd grade. And so it's so important for you to have a plan that possesses these steps: vision, goals, strategies, priority, right? And accountability. If you can operate and flow in that and revisit it often, every 3 months, every 6 months, every year, revisit it and have people around you to say, no, you're drifting a little bit. No, Derek, listen, I know you started helping people, but you're drifting a little bit. Let's revisit these things so that we can get back to helping people. That will help in accomplishing and removing this whole vision drift.
You said 2 really important things. One, you talked about it's easier to go with the flow when there's no accountability, right? Holding firm to what you believe in and holding that destination, holding that line, holding that course, that's hard. Like staying on the path is hard. Well, again, one of my favorite books talks about broad is the way, wide is the gate. And the reason it's broad and it's wide, not only is because so many people are going to be on this way, but because you can literally go like side to side, you can just wander away. But when you talk about narrow is the gate, narrow is the way, it requires some focus to stay that course. And so when people are just going here and there, laissez-faire, they just kind of, that's not flexibility, that's irresponsibility.
That's right. That's so good.
People call it just going with the flow and being flexible. That's not what it is. That means you didn't plan, you don't have a goal, you have a destination, possibly, but all this other stuff in between, you didn't plan for it, which goes to the second thing I want to talk about. You said you want something to die, don't plan for it. Listen, you want your marriage to die, don't plan. You want your family to die, show up, try to be dad without a plan. You want your plants to die, don't have a plan. You want your friendships, You want your church to die? You want to lose your job? Show up without a plan.
Come on.
Right. That's the best way to make sure you don't succeed is to not plan for success.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, strategizing is something that if you're not good at, you got to bring people around you.
Absolutely.
Right? Some people are gifted at certain things. Be okay with being gifted in what you're gifted at.
Yeah.
And the things that you're not good at, bring people around you. This book that you're talking about, one of your favorite books, right?
Yeah.
Is that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. And this is what I believe, that what I'm good at, right, that's my strength.
Yeah.
And what I'm weak at, there's some people that are brought into alignment with me that help me in those areas.
Yeah.
Right? And so I could be so-so in those areas, but if I give attention to what I'm weak at,
Bruh.
then I lose attention at what I'm good at, and now I'm weak in two areas.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So strategizing allows you to be good at what you do and bring other people to be good at what they do so that you can have an amazing plan together and you're not drifting. Why? When you are alone, it's easy to drift.
Yeah.
But when you have people connected to you, it makes it harder to drift.
Yeah.
Right? I'm always going to the mindset of war. There were times that there was a line, right? And folks were lined up shoulder to shoulder, and the other side is marching, and the general or the person that's calling the shots is saying, hold it, hold it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how scared you are, your heart is beating, is pumping, your adrenaline is going. You want to pull that trigger, but it's not time, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a plan in place. And if you pull the trigger too soon, it might ruin everything, right? And as you are planning together, you're waiting for the right moment to pull the trigger, and at the right time, everything launches together and it sets you up for success. Those are the things that help you with mission drift. If you're real quick to pull the trigger, if you're real quick to kick indoors, if you're real quick to be set off, if you're real quick to just chase a dollar, then you wind up chasing things out of distraction and you become irresponsible, like you're saying. Listen, I don't want to be caught being irresponsible.
At all. Yeah. You know how the turtle won the race? It's because the rabbit was getting distracted along the way. I don't know if you all watch Looney Tunes or anything like that, but it was funny because the turtle was just as slow as can be, head up, running straight, just the whole time. And then the rabbit would run fast, run slow, stop, it would play. Go get something. It would do all these different things because the turtle was worried about running the race, right? And the rabbit was so cocky and confident that I'll get there eventually. They need to lose it. And so for you all out there, we're talking about mission drift. We're talking about staying the course. We're saying if we want to dominate not only the Monday, but the week and the month, then that means we check in along the way. Not only check in with ourselves and make sure, are we going in the right direction? Are we saying we're doing what we're going to do? Do I still want to do this? Is it something, if we go back to Ikigai, is it something that I love, that I'm good at, that the people need and I can make money doing it? Like we're checking in along the way. Not only am I checking in with myself, but I'm checking in with G. G, what you think? Are we still good? Is this the right direction? G's like, ooh, I don't know. We might need to correct a little bit. But if I continue to go and not check in with myself, not check in with what I said I was going to do, not check in with the people around me, I end up finding myself in a place that I didn't even start out in that direction. And that's exactly what drifting is.
And I want to make sure that, listen, you understand, we understand, mission drift is not only about you being disciplined, but mission drift is about having the right people at the table. Do you realize that there were some people that got together that almost built a tower to heaven?
Listen.
They were.
I mean, they was on the same page.
There's power in team. When you have the right team together, you can accomplish just about anything and everything. Get some people in your corner that are willing to tell you no and you'd accept it. If you got a bunch of yes people on your team, then you got the wrong team. If you have some people that are not willing to challenge you, then you have the wrong people around you. If you are the smartest person in the room, you need more people around you. Listen, we have to be intentional about not drifting. How serious are you? And if you're serious about it, then you keep the right people around you that are going to hold you accountable, pull you in. And it doesn't matter if you're in charge or not. Listen, asking people questions or asking people, are we doing right around you, and you're the one in charge, does not show that you're weak. It shows that you're confident enough that you could be a leader and still accept what is that? Advice from the people
input.
that are around you, input from the people that are around you.
Yeah. Again, one of my favorite books talking about surrounding yourself with wise counsel. I want to say this before we wrap up today, and G's going to close us out. There's a difference between drifting and steering. They can look similar if I'm going this way. But drifting is I'm going unintentionally this way versus steering means I see an adjustment, I see an obstacle, let me go that way.
So good.
So I think it's very important for people that are like be flexible, as you know, it doesn't require a straight line, success isn't linear. Yeah, those are all excuses. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about going a particular direction, having a destination in mind, and then getting there very strategically. Drifting cannot be an option, but steering can.
Listen, there was a book that I read that is called Who's Holding Your Ladder? And in this book, it said, there's nothing worse than climbing the ladder and getting to the top and realizing that your ladder was on the wrong wall.
Oh my gosh.
And so I challenge you that as you're building in life, as you're moving forward, as you're looking at dominating your Monday and your week, don't get to the top of your ladder and realize that your ladder was on the wrong wall. Don't drift. Don't drift. Don't drift. Because in the end, when you get there, you'll feel like you've wasted your time and you've led people in a direction that then you're going to realize was not the direction that you needed to head in. I'm G.
I'm Derek.
And this is this week's Monday Huddle.